Hello, students. Today, the topic that we're going to do is something that is very close to my heart. The topic is entrepreneurship. Yes, entrepreneurship, concepts and functions. So, we are going to discuss about what is entrepreneurship. I believe you would have heard this word somewhere, isn't it? To start with, let us look at the learning objectives for the day. The learning objectives of today's topic are to understand the concept of entrepreneurship, to know about the qualities of an entrepreneur. So, who is an entrepreneur? What are the qualities of an entrepreneur? We are then looking at to familiarize yourself with the process of establishing an enterprise. Keep the word in mind, enterprise. So, what is an enterprise? And then we shall do about learning about factors that contribute towards a successful enterprise. And last but not the least, we should also know about the importance of entrepreneurship in tourism. Okay, so now we need to understand how entrepreneurship is linked to tourism. To start with, the first of all, I would like to bring in your mind to understand the thought process of the word entrepreneur. Have you ever thought to start your own business? Have you ever thought to be your own boss? Have you ever thought to start something new, to start something different? All these thoughts and processes relate one way or another to entrepreneurship. Now let's start with the first thing to understand the enterprise, and I'm sure you have done it before. Just to reiterate, we are actually looking at SME, small and medium enterprise. But until very recently, the government of India in 2020 has brought up a new notification. In the new notification, there are micro, small, and medium enterprise. Now, what is a micro enterprise? Now, a micro enterprise, as per the latest notification of the government, is an enterprise which has minimum investment of up to 1 crore. That means not exceeding 1 crore, and the turnover not exceeding 5 crores. Then comes a small enterprise. Now, what is a small enterprise? Again, the same category, but the plant and the investment in plant and machinery and equipment should not be more than 10 crores, and the turnover up to 50 crores. And last but not the least, which is medium enterprise, and of course the investment in the plant machinery equipment should not be more than 50 crores, and the turnover up to 250 crores. Now, that means what is it I'm talking about? All these MSME enterprises or business houses or a, businesses that are investing at their what's called turnovers and investments ranging from anything above 1 up to 50 crores of investment, and the turnover up to 250 crores. Now, why this sector is recalled again? Why are we thinking about this sector? Do you know this MSME or small and medium enterprise, which is micro, small and medium enterprise, they actually are the new job opportunities creators. Yes, they do create new job opportunities. Okay, now the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise, they actually are working towards supporting these enterprises, and tourism is no change. Tourism is also part of it, and tourism also comes under small and medium enterprise. Now, then comes there's a very good recognition of SMEs, which is increasing day by day. Yes, it is increasing because small and medium enterprise, they really play a major role in the developing countries. Yes, the economies really depend on these small and medium enterprises, and they actually also, you know, are very much supportive or contributors toward the global economic development. And they actually represent about 90% of businesses around the world and more than 50% of the employment worldwide. The formal SMEs, which is called small and medium enterprise, they contribute up to 40% of national income in many emerging economies. So, what do we learn from all this? We learn that small and medium enterprise, they really play a bigger role into the development of economies around the world. So now we need to understand what is an entrepreneur. Yes, we need to understand what is an entrepreneur. So the definition by AICTE, which is a Government of India organization, is that an entrepreneur is a person who has a possession of a new enterprise. When you talk about new enterprise, that means you have a new idea. You actually are looking at bringing something new. Well, when you bring something new in the market, any product or a service or a new idea, you think people believe in you, or you think that idea really starts implementing? Not really. That means an entrepreneur is a person who has very, very focused goal, who knows what he or she wants to do. Okay, which means that there could be no, there could be negative, there could be failures. Yes, certainly. So the entrepreneur is a person who is ready to face those failures. So the term actually, the entrepreneur, the term actually was taken from a French, and it was defined by Irish French economist called Richard Cantillon. Now, it is actually coming up from there that we have picked up this term, and it has actually become very much vocal in the 19th century. And someone who takes an enterprise or a business and acts as a, it was a mediator or an intermediary between a labor and the capital. So this was the previous one, but now what are we looking at? Entrepreneur is a person who actually introduces new product or a service. Now, as we said in one of our objectives, that we are going to link it to tourism, right? So number one, there should be new product or service that should be launched or introduced in terms of by an entrepreneur, or and there must be something different, there must be something innovative. So there's something in this business that's something different. Now when you talk about different, I don't understand. I'll give you one very good example here. Now we all know the hotels, right? We all know in the hospitality industry the hotels, the various hotels are there. Now these hotels, they have customers coming to them, they stay, they book the hotel, you pay the money, and either, and when you go there, you stay there, there's a booking, and then you enjoy your stay and you come back. Excuse me. Now that is a normal way, right? What happened, there's something called Airbnb, right? Airbnb. What did Airbnb do? They changed the whole system. Now here they use something called shared economy. Now what is a shared economy? They use the accommodation which was already present in the market. What accommodation are we talking about? Yes, excuse me. We're talking about accommodation which was available in the market. That means the houses of people. Accommodation. I was having my flat in the city, same very close to the hotel, but my flat is empty. So they use those flats and accommodation from the local people and ask guests to go and stay over there. So now Airbnb was a new idea. They were giving accommodation in the same city where the five-star hotel is, but a bigger accommodation with the kitchen, but from the owner rather than hotel, and at a cheaper price. When the hotels are going fully booked, you still want to go in the city, you can still go by using Airbnb. So that's an idea. That was exactly an example of an entrepreneur, and this is something that you will give you a relation to what exactly I was trying to tell you. Now let's move on further and to understand. So understand what could be the qualities, that an entrepreneur may have. So let's look at the qualities. So there are a few things very, very interesting that entrepreneurs do and they have. Number one, entrepreneurs are really, really very much focused. Yes, they want to be their own bosses. Number one. Number two, there's few qualities which I'll pick up one by one. The first one is that they welcome failures. You heard me right. They welcome failures. They are ready, they're stubborn, they welcome failures. That means when you take a risk in life, for anything, there is a chance of failure, right? So they are risk takers. Now, when they take a risk, they take risk in a calculated way. You talk about calculated way. What is a calculated way? That means before jumping in, they will do the calculations. If I jump in, what could be positive and what could be negative? What could be the consequences if I'm successful, and what could be the consequences if I'm not successful, or if there's a failure? So there's a calculated risk that they take, and they say, okay, but they have something in their mind they call optimistic. They're positive. They're hoping for success. Yes, I know there's a risk of failure, but there's a possibility of success too. And they take the risk and they go. So what happens is, in their mind, they have a very positive hope of achieving things, right? And when you have a positive hope of achieving things, you really do not worry much about the failures. You do not worry about the hurdles that come in the way. You know what is the hurdles? Hurdles is any obstruction that come in the way. So you are not afraid of those obstacles. So these people, this is one of the qualities that they're risk taking, and they're not afraid of failures. Rather, what happens is, these obstacles is like a feedback. Obstacles are like a feedback, and they help to analyze the situation, to understand the situation, and develop self-confidence. So that's the very first criteria in terms of an entrepreneur. Let's take the next criteria: to evaluate, rather to constantly self-evaluate, to check on you. Am I doing the right thing? Is my process right? Is my decision making right? Everything. So what do? You always check and you evaluate your decisions, your actions, so that you're always on track. You're very much attentive. You're very much positive, hoping, but at the same time, you're looking at what am I doing. So, in terms of self-evaluation, so you say, okay, fair enough. Do I have the confidence to take the risk? Now, the good thing in the self-evaluation is, you evaluate, you find mistakes, you work on your mistakes. Okay. Now, how can the only objective is to have a success, right? Now, if you have that as an objective, all other things, they do not look big. All other obstacles do not look big. So you work on that. Now, if you remember, or if you, well, at the moment you might be, I don't know what your situation would be. You could be in your department, you could be somewhere, but wherever you are, if you're working or if you're studying or if you're planning to, every day you get yourself ready and go to work, right? But here, your work is 24/7 because it's all here. You always, ignition of fire is there in you all the times, isn't it? So the questions that could come in terms of self-evaluation is, can I take a risk? Can I see a new opportunity and a business opportunity coming in this decision? What if I take initiative and move ahead and take first step? Should I take risk or not? Can I bring that money and resources to get this work done? Can I ask people to join me and get this work done? Okay, now, can I plan those things? So you're already checking all those things in you. Can I implement? And can I pursue those things for a long time? So all those questions come to your mind. So you're analyzing all the times, what about decisions you're taking, what are actions you're taking before doing these actions. You're analyzing your actions. Not only that, the very, very important aspect is called initiative. What is initiative? Okay. Internal fire to do something rather than someone telling you. No one should be able to tell you what you should do. You know what you do because you really want to achieve your dreams. You want to make your dreams into reality. You want to make your dream as in your business or your enterprise as an operation. You want to let it go and run, isn't it? So you're not waiting for anyone's instructions or directions. So that's something which is called initiative, and this is very much common. One of the traits in a person called entrepreneur. Yes, entrepreneurs has those things they have built in, and they're very strongly built in them, and that's a fire, as I was using this word earlier. Now, to take a decision or to do any action, the very important aspect that comes is called information. Yes, it is information. So what is information? So information is that whatever you're going to take action action or decision or launching a product or a service, you need to know your customers. You need to know the trends. You need to know what's going on in the market. You need to know what are the likes and dislikes. There's so many things that you need to know. But where do you get this information? That's exactly right. So, information seeking. That means you must be up to date with the latest information in the industry, the latest